Janet Kuypers. Janet Kuypers. Rhymes with hyper. My sister was a business teacher, and she's like, Sandy Kuypers rhymes with hyper. Anyway, never mind.
Never do.
But I had to do this one before the election.
Okay.
This is a long one. I know I'm giving you long ones. This is called Understanding What's Crazy. Had a boyfriend. Had a Judeo-Christian boyfriend, which meant when we went off in college and we were getting tanked on the weekends, his Sabbath was from sundown Friday to sundown Saturday. So he wouldn't go out on Friday nights. A male friend of mine had tickets for a concert on a Friday night. I was so psyched to go. But my boyfriend, well, it was his Sabbath. I knew he wouldn't go. Well, he had no problem, though, if I went. I mean, this other guy was just a friend, so before sundown Friday, my boyfriend came over and helped me style my hair before my big concert night with another guy. Now, that might not seem, that crazy, just a little odd, but I swear to God, this male guy was just a friend. We were really just friends. But what seemed a little more crazy was during the concert, my friend licked the side of my face. I mean, he stuck his tongue on my jawbone and ran his tongue up to my temple. And he never explained why he did it. The public gymnasium hall was often in demand, and so when I couldn't find a dentist partner, I often played racquetball, practicing a different kind of swing, and knowing that the room of walls would always bring the ball back to me. But a guy who liked me wanted to play racquetball, so to the gymnasium we went. And as I said, these rooms were always in demand, so we had to keep looking through these little 8-inch square windows at every racquetball court to see if any were empty and we could enter and play. Well, we finally found one room, and we made it our own, dropping our cases off in the corners, and we started to practice our moves. But one shot he hit, well, it was fast. But it must have come at just the right angle and from upper corners and the things, and it just reflected repeatedly before it shot right into my eye. Oh, okay, it was more like the right corner of my eye, but it was right below my eyebrow. It was really, really close. It was still really fast. It was still really hard. I dropped my racket and turned my back to the nearby wall so I'd have something to fall to. He instantly ran over to me, and he put down his racket, and he put his hand on my face. "Are you okay?" he asked, and I was trying to catch my breath. I moved my hand. His eyes were 2 inches from mine. It wasn't quite crazy, but it was a bit surreal when I looked to the door and saw someone trying to look in to see if they could take and use the room. Sorry, we're not in a makeout session, but the room is taken. Maybe it's not crazy to drink in the sewers, but it might seem crazy if you're a prim and proper girl with a bottle of champagne to share with your man. And they suggest a great place to share it would be in the sewer. And this prim and proper girl is wearing a black suede miniskirt and shoes, but prim and proper girls are taught to follow their man, so agree she does, and off they go. Of course, she has no idea how to get to the sewer, but of course he does. So they bring 2 disposable paper cups, the kind that you used to find in the water office coolers. And he opens a grating to blow into a deserted street where they can make their way down the metal tubes for steps. It wasn't what the prim and proper girl had in mind, and oh well for the suede shoes and the metal steps. Just try not to touch anything down there. Just drink your champagne out of your mini paper cup, and remember that you're probably someplace where no one else will ever think to find you. As more and more of your family dies after you've almost been killed yourself, well, do something to say you've done it before it's too late. So take a flight across the country to jump out of an airplane and have a view of the Rockies during your fall. Spend hours in training, then wait for hours before an afternoon rainfall. The locals say, "It's okay, wait a few hours and the storm will pass. There'll be time for you to be able to jump today." So the woman is waiting, and the camera crews are there too, and the only thing she's told to do for the camera was If you're having fun, do jazz hands. Seems simple enough. But when the time came, as they were in an airplane with no door, and the altimeter said they were at 12,000 feet, and it was time to go, she completely went numb. It was like her eyes went out of focus, and she was just blindly following the staff's commands. And she went through the motions without even thinking. She didn't remember how to move her legs when she first fell, but she did everything perfectly. But after they landed, the cameraman had to ask her, "What were you doing with your hands? They were flying all over the place." And she looked at him quizzically and said, "I was doing jazz hands." But because even though 125 mile per hour wind resistance gave her absolutely no control over her hands, she thought he had to be able to tell. Doing jazz hands. Of course she was. If you ever jump out of an airplane, what else would you do? Because the rock band Wham! Was the first popular European group to hold a rock concert in China, they made their Freedom video back in the 80s of their China concert. All the Chinese people want a photograph with you at the Great Wall of China because everyone is half your height. Well, maybe you can break away from the locals so you don't look so crazy when you walk along that wall and break into song. I don't want your freedom. You know, that's actually a perfect line for the Chinese. I don't want your freedom. That's really right. I don't know what I was, I know I wasn't supposed to be hanging out with these two brothers that were up the street. They weren't really bright, but their scrubs were so entertaining. So I was out with them in an empty field, led to an abandoned garage storage building, and they set up cans and extra metal sheets as targets for shooting their guns. Okay, no harm there, but one of the shots ricocheted off of a metal sheet and ricocheted straight into my leg, right behind my knee. Okay, the bullet slowed down from the ricochet. It's right under the surface. It barely hurts, but my parents don't want me hanging out with these boys. So hopefully I can just push the bullet out and stop the bleeding and no one will be the wiser. What am I thinking? I've never really been crazy. But I'll tell you what's crazy. A bunch of Democrats supporting an old socialist because 18-year-olds are about to go to college and they like hearing someone tell them that college will be free because right now they'll be in debt for years because of their education. I know they're too young to know that any social system won't work in the States, but they don't need logic or sanity when someone tells them what they want to hear. And speaking of politics right now, I'll tell you what is crazy. It's that a third of the nation supports a business mogul running for president who wants to stop some religions from entering our country, and who wants to refer to women they don't like as having blood coming out of their lady parts, and who calls another nation one of rapists and robbers. Crazy wants to rule our country. Why am I wondering where crazy is? I see crazy everywhere I go. You're ready to come out of your shell.